Hello everyone, welcome to History class. Today we are going to continue Lesson 8 of History, the Great Uprising of 1857. Earlier we had discussed about the revolt of 1857, causes of the revolt of 1857, outbreak of the revolt in Meerut, and main centers of the revolt. And today the topic of the day is suppression of the revolt. The main objectives of today's topic are you will come to know about suppression of the revolt of 1857, nature of the revolt, and effects of the revolt or uprising of 1857. But before starting today's topic, let us recall definitions and cross questions related to the previous topics. Definitions: cavalry, guerrilla warfare, garrison, sepoy, cartridge. Now answer these cross questions. Who was proclaimed as the Emperor of Hindustan? Who led the revolt in Kanpur? Who was considered as one of the greatest leaders of the revolt of 1857? Which place became the point of revolt for more than 8 months? Tell the main centers of the revolt of 1857. Which policy was used by the British to annex Jhansi? Now let us discuss new words related to today's topic. National revolt, a violent protest against national authority. Viceroy, a person who was sent by a king or queen to govern a colony. Hire, a person who has the legal right to receive somebody's property after the death of that person. Paramountcy, supreme power or authority. Annex, to take control of a country or region, especially by a force. Divide and rule, gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than implementing the strategy. Now, the topic is suppression of the revolt of 1857. Unnerved by the scale of upheaval, the company decided to repress the revolt with all its might. It brought reinforcements from England, passed new laws so that the rebels could be convicted with ease, and then moved into the storm centers of the revolt. Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces in September 1857. The last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was tried in court and sentenced to life imprisonment. Many battles were fought between the Indians and the British. However, the British had to fight for approximately 2 years to suppress the massive forces of popular rebellion. Now, let us read from the book. Suppression of the revolt. The British were disturbed by the scale of the revolt. They wanted every single inch of their territory back. Territory means region. Governor General Lord Canning mobilized all his forces and placed his troops under the command of his best commanders, Hugh Rose, Neil, Campbell, Havelock, Outram, and John Lawrence. They massacred people and burnt down villages. Fierce battles were fought in the Ridge, Chani Chowk, Kashmiri Gate, and Red Fort. Means the British were totally disturbed as the revolt was spreading to different parts of India rapidly and was led by different Indian leaders at different centers. Like at Kanpur, the revolt was led by Nana Sahib. At Awadh, the revolt was led by Begum Hazrat Mahal. At Jhansi, it was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai. At Bihar, the revolt was led by Kanwar Singh, etc. But the British wanted each and every region of India back. So, the Governor General, Lord Canning, started preparing and organizing his forces and started placing his soldiers under the command of his best British commanders. He placed Hugh Rose, Neil, Campbell, Havelock, Outram, and John Lawrence at different places in India. The British commanders killed many Indians and burnt many Indian villages. Terrible battles were fought between the Indians and the British in the Ridge, Chani Chowk, Kashmiri Gate, and Red Fort in Delhi. Bahadur Shah Zafar and his family took shelter in Humayun's tomb. The British declared him guilty of treason, murder, and rebellion. The British captured him. He was exiled to Rangoon, now Yangon, in Burma, now Myanmar, after a lengthy trial. On 7 November 1862, Bahadur Shah Zafar died in Rangoon. Bahadur Shah Zafar was proclaimed as the Emperor of Hindustan by the sepoys, and the Indian chiefs proclaimed their loyalty to the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. During the revolt, he and his family took shelter in Humayun's tomb at Delhi. The British announced him guilty of being disloyal, murderer, and the revolt. He was soon captured by the British and was tried in court and sentenced to life imprisonment. His sons were shot dead before his eyes. He and his wife Begum Zeenat Mahal were sent to prison in Rangoon, the present day Myanmar, in October 1858. And after that, he died in Rangoon jail on November 7, 1862. And after his death, Delhi was recaptured by the British. But the recapture of Delhi, however, did not mean that the rebellion died down after that. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal escaped to Nepal. Tatia Tope was captured and killed in 1859. However, it took the British a while to suppress the popular rebellion within a year and a half. During the revolt, Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal, the wife of deposed ruler Wajid Ali Shah, fled to Nepal. And after that, Rani Lakshmi Bai was defeated and killed in Jhansi in June 1858. Tantia Tope escaped to the jungles of central India and continued to fight a guerrilla warfare with the support of many tribal and peasant leaders. He was captured, tried, and then killed in April 1859. However, the British had to fight for about 1.5 years to suppress the massive forces of popular rebellion. The revolt of 1857 failed because of many reasons. Some of them are as follows. The whole of India was not affected by the revolt. Rajasthan, Assam, Orissa, Bengal, greater parts of Punjab, and South India remained more or less unaffected. Means revolt of 1857 was localized and poorly organized. Due to lack of communication facilities, the sepoys of the widely dispersed cantonments could not act simultaneously in a concerted manner. The revolt did not spread to wider regions of the country. The armies of the Bombay and Madras region remained loyal to the British. There was hardly any disturbance in Rajasthan, Assam, Orissa, Bengal, and greater parts of Punjab. Even the South India remained unaffected. The other reason for the failure of the revolt of 1857 was rulers of many princely states like the Nizam of Hyderabad, Rajput rulers and ruling chiefs of Nabha, Patiala and Kashmir did not support the revolt. Means the ruling princes of the princely states of Hyderabad, Rajasthan, Punjab did not support the revolt, and even ruling chiefs of Kashmir and Nabha did not support the sepoys during the revolt, as the revolt was not spread in these parts of India. Moreover, the British were strong in Bengal, Bombay, and Madras. They took safety measures to keep the uprising in check. They issued orders which allowed them to shoot anyone suspected of supporting the rebellion. During the revolt, the armies of Bengal, Bombay, and Madras remained loyal to the British, so the British were strong in these states. The British had made all the arrangements for their safety during the revolt. Even they had issued the orders to shoot on spot if anyone could found doubted and supporting the revolt. The British had a well developed administrative setup in India. They were well connected by telegraph, roads, and railways. Means the British had well established administrative system in India. Even the British soldiers were equipped with latest weapons and used the telegraphs, roads, and railways to their advantages. They could send messages about the revolt much in advance so that precautionary measures could be taken at the other end. The other reason for the failure of the revolt was They had superior military techniques and able generals. The Indian military techniques were not only outdated, but the rebel leaders even failed to consolidate their gains. Means the British had far superior resources in terms of men, money, and materials to the Indians. The British used superior military methods during the revolt, while on the other hand, the Indians had only few guns and muskets. They fought chiefly with swords and spears. Not only the Indian military methods were outdated, but even the rebel leaders failed to consolidate their increase in resources. Moreover, the rebel leaders also lacked a centralized leadership and mass appeal. Most revolts were restricted to small areas and leaders fought to liberate their own territories. Liberate means free. Means the Indians lacked common ideal before them. The sepoys at Delhi decided to recover the glory of the Mughals. At Gwalior and Kanpur, Nana Sahib was proclaimed a Peshwa. Rani Lakshmibai fought for her Jhansi. The orthodox section among the Hindus and the Muslims were concerned with their own religions. There was no unity among the Hindus and the Muslims. So, most of the revolts were restricted to small areas and the leaders fought to free their own regions. The other reason for the failure of the revolt was that the revolt was not supported by the newly educated Indians. They thought that the British rule was necessary for India's modernization and development. Means some sections of the educated Indians did not support the cause as they had the wrong notion that the British rule would help them accomplish the task of modernization while those opposing the British government would take the country backward. Now let us read and discuss about the nature of the revolt. The British termed the revolt of 1857 as a sepoy mutiny, whereas the Indian historians have referred it as the First War of Independence. British officers who witnessed the revolt, such as Sir James Outram and P.E. Roberts, called this a mutiny of soldiers, which happened due to the use of greased cartridges. Means the British historians called it a purely military revolt, while the Indians regarded it as the First War of Independence. The British officers who viewed this revolt, they called it as a mutiny of soldiers because it happened due to the use of greased cartridges. Whereas on the other hand, the Indian historians termed it as the First War of Independence. Though the revolt began with the mutiny of the sepoys, it soon engulfed wide regions and people, taking the shape of a national struggle for freedom. However, the revolt of 1857 did not occur suddenly. After the conquest of Bengal by the British in 1757, common people were not happy with the economic, political, and social policies of the British. The unfair policies of the British resulted in resentment and discontentment, which led to the outbreak of the revolt. Some famous scholars and Indian nationalist leaders viewed the revolt of 1857 as the first war of independence. According to them, both Hindus and Muslims participated in the revolt against a common enemy. Now, let us read and discuss about the effects of the uprising. Massive changes in the British policy were observed after the revolt of 1857. Massive means huge. These changes were aimed at strengthening the British control and preventing any revolts in the future. Basically, the British had regained control of the country by the end of 1857, but they could not carry on ruling the land with the same policies anymore. Many important changes were introduced by the British to prevent the revolts in the future. In August 1858, the British Parliament passed a new act. It transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown. Means the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. A member of the British cabinet was appointed as the Secretary of State for Indian Affairs. He was answerable to the British Parliament. He looked after the British political affairs in India. The title of Viceroy was given to the Governor General, who was answerable to the Crown through the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State was assisted by a council called the Indian Council. Means a member of the British cabinet was appointed Secretary of State for India and made responsible for all the matters related to the governance of India. He was given a council to advise him called the Indian Council. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy, that is, a personal representative of the Crown. In 1858, Queen Victoria issued a proclamation assuring the Indian princes that no further annexation would be made. Annexation means invasion. They could pass over their kingdoms to their heirs but had to accept the British paramountcy. Paramountcy means supreme power or authority. Means Queen Victoria issued a declaration in 1858, and according to that declaration, all the ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. They were allowed to pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including the adopted sons. However, they made to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. Thus, the Indian rulers were to hold their kingdoms as subordinates of the British Crown. She also promised not to interfere in the social and religious customs and practices of the Indians. Customs means traditions. Means the Queen also assured that there would be no interference in the internal matters such as social and religious traditions and practices of the Indians. To win the loyalty of the local landlords, the British awarded them titles and recognized their traditional land rights. So, in order to win the loyalty of the local landlords, many new policies were made by the British to protect the landlords and the zamindars. They were awarded the titles and they were given the security of rights over their lands. After that, the British pursued the policy of divide and rule to disunite the Indians. Pursued means followed. In fact, they followed a conscious policy of discrimination. They impounded the property of the Muslims. They accused them of starting the rebellion. Means after 1858, the British continued their policy of divide and rule by turning the princes against the people, province against province, caste against caste, group against group, and above all, Hindus against Muslims. The government cleverly used the attractions of government service to create a split among religious lines among the educated Indians. The British also encouraged hatred and ill feeling among the Hindus and the Muslims so that they could never challenge the British Empire in India. Moreover, the land and property of Muslims was confiscated on a large scale and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. The British believed that the Muslims were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. The uprising of 1857 was crushed, but it was considered a landmark in the history of India. This revolt encouraged Indians to fight against the oppressive British regime. The inspiration fused by this revolt paved the way for the national movement in the future. Means in 1857, finally, the revolt was crushed, but it was considered as the main event in the Indian history. This revolt encouraged Indians to fight against the harsh British rule. So we can conclude that the uprising of 1857 was the first struggle of the Indian people for freedom from British. It paved the way for the rise of the national movement. The sacrifices made by the revolutionaries like Rani Lakshmibai, Nana Sahib, and Mangal Pandey served as a source of inspiration for future freedom fighters. The heroic struggle also established valuable traditions of resistance to the British rule. Now, I hope today's topic is clear to you. Your today's homework is to learn the lesson and solve the back exercises.